Hey, what is up everyone? The LDB is back at it again, coming at you today with my ongoing directive build for TU10. This build hits like an absolute truck and I have been loving it. As I've been using a lot of skill builds lately, it's really nice to go back to the assault rifles and do some really nice damage. Now I will tell you in advance that I am doing this a little bit different than the majority of people, but nonetheless, it's still working out very nicely. So I hope you enjoy and find this video helpful. If you do, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button, subscribe for future Division content if you are new to the channel, hit me up on Twitter at LDB Gaming, and feel free to drop a comment down there below. So let's get into this. Alright everyone, so here it is. Now as you can see up top there, I'm actually going to be going with the gunner specialization for this build. I know that's a little bit weird, but I am not really pushing the status effect or anything any more than it has to be, and I will tell you why in just a little bit. Now as far as the gunner goes, I'm simply using this because on this build I feel like we're a little bit more squishy than usual. I don't know what it is, but you need that extra 10% armor on a kill. That definitely has helped me out a lot, as well as utilizing the Banshee Pulse. I haven't pulled that out in a long time, but that definitely comes in handy when you get into a pinch with some NPCs. You can knock them down, do some nice damage, as well as, to bosses or heavies, knock them down, pop their backpack, do what you gotta do, and keep on moving. So that's essentially why I'm using the gunner. Now as far as the core attributes go, we're talking 6 reds, 0 blue, and 0 yellow. Again, we're not going with any golden gear, no, wyvern, anything like that. We're going to just simply be going raw damage. Now as far as the minor attributes go, we have 8 reds, 0 blue, and 3 yellows. So pretty much sums it up right there. Now as far as the armor goes, we're talking 726, the health 288, and we don't have any skill tiers. So let's get into these weapons. Alright, so actually before we go on to those weapons, let's go over what ongoing directive is going to be doing for us, how it works, and why I feel like you do not need any extra status effects on this build. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, a lot of hate, so I just want to clear the air right now and explain why, and hopefully it will make sense to you in the end, and if not, then I guess we agree to disagree. But the 2-piece right here gives us that 15% status effect, so we're already getting a little bit of a boost to the status effects. The 3-piece gives you 30% reload speed, awesome, and the 4-piece gives you the talent rules of engagement. This is where it's at right here. Killing a status affected enemy grants hollow point ammo for your active weapon. Hollow point ammo amplifies weapon damage by 20% and applies bleed on hit. Now a lot of people are focusing on that bleed and trying to push the bleed as much as possible, but I'm here to tell you it's not worth it, it's not going to work. And I'll put it to you this way. When I'm using my pestilence in a heroic mission and I'm ticking them for 600, 700,000, it barely moves down their health bar. Now, as is on this build right now, if I'm to bleed them, I'm going to bleed them for about 65,000. 64, 65,000, I believe, right? Now, if I go ahead and put on a piece of golden gear and then wyvern or, whatever combination, and you make a nice little hybrid, you go up to about 75 to 80,000. Now, that's not a very big difference, in my opinion, as well as when you put it in reference with the pestilence, like I was saying. Another 10, 15,000 bleed per hit is not going to make or break the game at all. And I think that's why people are getting frustrated with this gear set. You need to be focusing on that extra 20% amplified weapon damage, in my opinion. And I will show you exactly why here in just a moment. So now let's take a look at these weapons. Alright, so for my primary weapon, I'm going to be using an AKM. I love the AKs in this game. I don't care what anyone says, they are still top dog. And actually, I'll show you why. We're talking this one right here that I have equipped is 145.1k per bullet base damage. That's pretty good, I'd have to say. If we compare that to, say, the Chameleon, that's actually not bad at 92 right now. We have the Eagle at 120. The Bighorn, 118. I have another AK down here with NSYNC on it that is hitting for 141, and then a G36 underneath it hitting for 114. I mean, look at the jump there. That's crazy. And then with the Honey Badger, 112. Nothing comes close to the AK. And this one only has 3 mod slots, so go figure, right? 145.1k per bullet base damage, 600 RPM with 50 in the mag. Now the attributes, 15% assault rifle damage, 18.5 health damage, and 10% damage to targets out of cover. I could have put crit hit chance instead of the damage to targets out of cover, but I just like that big blanket, just 10% damage to anybody that is not hiding behind something. I love that right there. Now as far as the talent goes, it is Sadist. This is where it's at right here. Deal 20% weapon damage to bleeding enemies. After 4 kills, apply bleed to the next enemy you hit. So let's take a look here. I'm going to be using the Stinger Hive, which applies the bleed effect. So right off rip, we're going to get that extra 20% weapon damage. As soon as we take down an NPC and we get some hollow points in our magazine, that's another 20% weapon damage. You see where I'm going with this? That's a lot of extra weapon damage all of a sudden. Boom. Also, once we get those hollow point rounds in our mag, then the next NPC that you shoot is going to bleed automatically. Therefore, you are going to instantly get that extra 20% damage to bleeding enemies from Sadist. Overall, I have been loving it, and this thing is working out amazing. Now, as far as the mods go, and again, there's only 3 of them on this one, we have the Optic with crit chance, we have the extra 20 rounds for the mag, and an extra 5% crit chance for the underbarrel. Nothing crazy at all. Push that crit chance as much as you can, let the crit damage fall where it may, and you should be doing pretty good. Now let's compare that to my secondary here, the Carnage. And this is what the majority of people are using right now. And if it's working for you, hey, that's awesome. You know, it is what it is. I just cannot stand the vertical jump when of the recoil. It just drives me crazy. This thing I cannot laser beam. And when you actually take a look at the damage, it's really not even worth it. You're talking 84.2k per bullet compared to 145. I mean, I almost have it doubled there. I mean, that's kind of crazy, guys. Now, it does have some nice RPM on there, 887 with 135 in the mag. So if, you know, someone runs up on you and they're bleeding, hey, you can dump on them real nice. But again, the damage is not all that great. I really haven't even used this a whole lot. I used it a few times, and I went right for the assault rifles and said, you know, it is what it is. Yes, it does have perfect sadist on it, dealing 25% weapon damage instead of the 20 on the AK, but you know what? When you compare the base damage, 84 to 145, and then you want to put 20 or 25% on top, the AK is going to win every single time. I promise you that right there. And, in my opinion, it's a lot more accurate. Now, as far as my sidearm goes, nothing crazy. Backup boomstick. 1.3 million per shot. Look at that. Boom, boom. They're probably going to fall down, and if they do, you proc preservation, and you get that 10% armor over 5 seconds. So, other than that, let's get on to these gear pieces. Alright, so let's start out with the mask here. It is the beloved Coyote mask. I freaking love this thing. It's an amazing way to get your weapon damage up, your crit chance and damage through the roof, a couple different ways, and overall, it's kind of like a staple for a DPS build, right? This one right here, we got 15% weapon damage on it, maxed out 6% crit hit chance, 10.4 crit hit damage, with 11.2 crit hit damage for the mod. Now we have the talent pack instincts here, 0 to 15 meters, 25% crit hit damage, 15 to 25 meters, 10% crit hit damage and 10% crit hit chance, 25 plus meters, 25% crit hit chance. So depending on the last shot, you're going to get a nice crit hit chance and damage buff. And we already have a whole bunch going on up top. Gotta love this piece right here. Alright, so on to the chest piece. It is ongoing directive. We already went over what the gear set is going to be doing for us, so I'm just going to skip over that right there. The core attribute, 14.2 weapon damage, almost maxed out. It is what it is. I decided to push that crit hit chance, as you can see, 6% maxed out with a 12% maxed out skill haste mod on there as well. Now, as far as the talent goes, we have Parabellum rounds. Increase hollow point ammo, weapon damage amplification to 35%. So instead of 20%, we're talking 35%. And then if they're bleeding with Sadist, it's another 20% on top. Boom. That's why you forget about the bleed. Just let the raw damage hit them, and this will just shred them. The bleed is like the cherry on top. It's just the extra little bit in the background just taking them down. The weapon damage is where it's at and where you need to focus on, in my opinion. Okay, so for the holster, it is also ongoing directive. The core attribute, 14.8 weapon damage, almost maxed out. I don't know why they can't just give me the 15s. Why would you put 14.8? I mean, it's 0.2 away. Come on here. But I maxed out the crit hit damage on there, so I guess that works out. Now, as far as the knee pads go, again, they are ongoing directive. The core attribute right here, 10.5 weapon damage, not too nice. I've been having terrible luck getting ongoing knee pads, so it is what it is. Again, I just focused on pushing that crit hit chance, and it's been working out pretty good. Okay, so for the gloves, they are Fenris group. We get that 10% assault rifle damage just for wearing them. So that, again, is just another weapon damage boost up. Another 10% just for wearing some Fenris. We got 15% weapon damage on the piece, 4.8 crit hit chance with 10% skill damage. I got these a long time ago. I said, I'm going to put them in the stash. I'll use the skill damage for something someday. And, actually, it fits pretty good right here. So I'm not mad about that. Alright, so on to the final piece, the backpack here. It is, again, ongoing directive. The core attribute here, 14.4 weapon damage, and we also have 12% crit hit damage rolled on there with 11.5 skill haste for the mod. Now the talent down here, Trauma Specialist, increase the duration of your bleed status effect by 50% and all bleed damage done by 100%. So right there, guys, this is... You're already going to be getting a couple different buffs towards your bleed. We get that 15% status effect up top regardless, and then we have this right here that's going to increase the duration 50% and the damage 100%. And no matter what, even if you do put a couple of yellows on here, the return is minimal at best. So again, I would focus on that 20% weapon damage we're going to be getting from it and just push that as much as possible. Let the bleed just tick in the background, just again, little cherry on top, and overall it has been working really nice for me. Alright, so let's get on to these skills here. I'm actually going to be using the Stinger Hive for this build, and I know a lot of people are probably thinking you're crazy, stupid, dumb, or whatever because this is counterproductive. It applies a bleed status effect, and so do your hollow point bullets. Well, let me tell you how this works, how I've been using it. You throw out the Stinger Hive in the initial engagement with the NPCs, right? You get them to bleed, you start shooting them, and since they are bleeding, Sadist is going to take effect. You knock them down real fast, and you get some hollow point ammo. Now, my point being here is that the refill speed on this is 5.1 seconds, and we only have 12 charges. So we're not going to be getting this all the time. We're going to be working off of the hollow point ammo. You shoot the hollow point ammo, they start to bleed, Sadist kicks in, and you get the nice buffs going. It's absolutely amazing. So this right here might sound counterproductive and just kind of look, like that's out of place. It's, a double bleed. But this is how you get Sadist to proc in the first place, and then just run away with it with those hollow point bullets. That's how I've been working it, and it's been great. We got that 5.1 second refill speed, 12 charges, 8-meter range. The duration is only 50 seconds. The health, 870,000, so it can get popped. The damage, 320,000, so that's pretty good. But the bleed damage, again, is only 69,000. That's doing more than my actual bullets are. And actually doing pretty close to what my bullets were doing when I had the yellows on the build. So just keep that in the back of your mind, guys. Now the bleed duration, 11.6 seconds, so that's pretty good there. It's going to bleed them out for a minute. Now as far as the Banshee Pulse here, I love this thing. It applies the disoriented status effect, so this will still work to help you get your hollow point ammo right there. And, at the same time, it knocks them down and makes them very vulnerable. You can just dump on them, right? Now, as far as the cooldown, we're talking 23.1 seconds, so it's not the best, but every 20-something seconds, that's not too bad. The duration, 10 seconds. Effect duration is only 5 seconds, so as soon as you hit them with it, pick them headshots, start dumping on them. The radius, 32 meters, so you can hit someone from quite a distance, and the cone angle is 21.3 degrees. So that's the skills, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let's go on to the stat sheet now. Alright everyone, so before we go ahead and sign off, let's just do a quick little recap breakdown here on the stat sheet. Now again, the primary weapon talent that I'm going to be going with is Sadist. On my secondary, Perfect Sadist. Really, if you wanted to run dual ARs with Sadist alone on them, I mean, that would probably be doing just fine for you. Now, as far as my sidearm, Preservation, we have the minigun going as well. Now, as far as the weapon stats go, we're talking 145.1k per bullet base damage. We have 41.4 crit hit chance, and again, with the Coyote mask, we're going to be able to bump up that crit chance a little bit more. We have 80 crit damage, so again, with the Coyote, bump that up a little bit more. The headshot, 55%, 19% health damage, love that right there. 31 meter range, not too bad. 2.1 second reload time because we have a 21% reload speed bonus, gotta love that. 8.2 accuracy, a little bit of stability on there, so on and so forth. We have 8.4 ammo capacity, been working on that a little bit. Now, here's where it's at. 93.9 all weapon damage bonus. 93.9. And then we have 40 assault rifle damage bonus on there. Okay, and then we're going to be talking, 35% from the hollow points, another 20% with sadist. You see where I'm going with this, guys? Forget the bleed. Let that just tick away in the background and melt them with this raw damage. I have been loving it, and that wouldn't steer you in the wrong direction, guys. I really wouldn't. Now, as far as the gear talents go, we have Trauma Specialist, Parabellum Rounds, and Pack Instincts. Pretty straightforward on that. And as far as the brand sets, we have the Coyote Mask, 4-piece ongoing, and 1-piece Fenris. So nothing too crazy for you guys to go out and farm at all. Now, as far as defense goes, we are on the squishy side here. 726,000 armor. We have 72,000 armor on a kill, so that's not bad. If you take down a couple NPCs, you can get a nice little chunk back, and it's been working out pretty good. Now, as far as the health goes, we're talking 288, a little bit of health regen there. We have some pulse resistance. We have hazard protection 10% all the way down the board, so get a little bit there, nothing too crazy. Now, as far as the skill haste goes, we're talking 29.2%. So we're still doing halfway decent with that skill haste. It's not terrible. It's not the best, though. But overall, you guys get the idea. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next one. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my ongoing directive build for TU10. This build hits like a truck without the status effect, and the status effect is just kind of the cherry on top. In my opinion, stick to the weapon damage, crit chance, and damage. You'll be doing better than if you go towards that status effect, especially for that heroic content. So as always, I hope you enjoyed and find this video helpful. If you do, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button. Subscribe for future Division content if you're new to the channel. Hit me up on Twitter at LDB Gaming, and feel free to drop a comment down there below. So until next time, guys, hope you take it easy. I will see you then. Later.